Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Droopytown Network for another unboxing video. Today we're going to be checking out the MSI 7950 Twin Frozr video card. So this is AMD's third best GPU. It's the 7950, which is behind the 7970 and 7990. But it is becoming obsolete because AMD is releasing its brand new line of GPUs in a few months. So if you guys are currently looking at this card because it's falling in price and becoming a great value considering that it's a high-end video card, then hopefully you'll enjoy this hands-on and unboxing video. So this is the Twin Frozr OC edition card, so it has been factory overclocked with just a little bit, not that impressive. But the cooler is that dual fan aluminum shroud design that a lot of people are a fan of. So no pun intended, hopefully this will turn out to be a good card. On the box right here you can see a picture of the video card and it looks like it's been frozen over. So don't take that seriously. That does not mean that this card is waterproof, and it certainly doesn't mean that this is how you water cool it. Probably not the best picture for MSI to put on these boxes. But we can also see that it talks about how great the fan is, how cool it makes the GPU, how quiet it is, all these advertising type things. And by being Windows 8 compatible, this card supports the Windows 8 fast boot function. So if you don't know about that, definitely look it up. If you have this card and Windows 8, or if you're looking to get this card, make sure you ask MSI for a specific BIOS to your serial number. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up. There's a lot of information out there about this, but if you get the right BIOS for this card that MSI provides, you can actually enable fast boot for your desktop, which will make Windows boot up from a cold shutdown in like 4 or 5 seconds. It's insane. But back to the box, we can see that there's a flap here, and underneath there is let's see, this little clear window where you can see the card inside. There might be a little bit of reflection, so you can't see it quite yet, but we'll definitely pull out the card, and a lot of information about the card itself and all sorts of details about how the high quality capacitors and the fan and all this stuff. So talking about the fan design being a lot more efficient. I'll take their word for it. On the back of the box, we do have even more information about system requirements, features, a bunch of things in different languages. Nothing too interesting. Alright, so let's actually get inside the box now. So it's not too fancy. There's no seal or anything. I bought this straight from Newegg, so this is a brand new box, and I haven't opened it yet, so no seal. So just for those of you who are curious about that. And then you just pull it out from one side. Alright, so we have inside here a clear plastic cover for the video card and the accessories, so I'll just lift that up. Alright, so first accessory I'm going to look at is this power adapter. So if your power supply is a little old, it doesn't come with a 6-pin PCIe adapter. You can attach 2 Molex adapters to it, but to be honest, if your PSU doesn't even have a native 6-pin PCIe cable, then chances are it's probably not powerful enough to run your card. So just make sure that your PSU does power enough wattages, if that even is grammatically correct, to support this card. Okay, and this card though, they only give you one adapter, but this card actually requires 2 PCIe 6-pin connectors, I believe. And so we'll have to see when I open the card. But before we get to that, underneath here we got a secret compartment that contains the driver's disc, it appears. Driver's disc right here. A quick user's guide for how to install the card into your desktop. Another little pamphlet here for instructions. Don't know why they can't combine these two, but they have them separate. And it looks like there's another adapter here. This is a 6-pin to 8-pin PCIe adapter. So does this card require an 8-pin adapter too? We'll definitely take a look at that, but there is this adapter in here. And we also have a DVI to VGA adapter, and this is a mini DisplayPort to DisplayPort adapter. So the back of this video card only has 2 mini display ports, an HDMI and a DVI. So if you want to use DisplayPort, you'll have to use this adapter. Finally, we do have the Crossfire bridge cable. There's one. Alright, now let's get to the actual card itself. So it's inside this Mylar bag, which is typical of computer hardware, and it's pretty darn long. I actually did an unboxing video of the GeForce 660, also Twin Frozr version, and it's a lot shorter and smaller than this. So this card definitely is going to take up a lot of room in your case, a lot heavier as well. Struggling to pull this out here. Looks like the bracket got caught in the Mylar bag and tore a hole in there. Alright, so let's check out this card. So first thing everybody's wondering, so there is an 8-pin plus 6-pin PCI port here. So a lot of people have been concerned about this because apparently MSI has been releasing versions of this card with 2 6-pin PCIe ports and 1 8-pin and 1 6-pin port. And the importance of this is that the cards with the 8-pin and 6-pin ports are basically using a 7970 circuit board. And why that is important is because apparently the 7970 circuit board has superior VRMs and basically voltage regulation modules that will improve your capability for overclocking. So if you guys are concerned about that, apparently MSI is still making the 7950s on the 7970 circuit board. So this card should be pretty good for overclocking if I try to do that. But beyond that, we can see that this card has a pretty fancy looking shroud and cooler here. It's obvious it extends to the length of the board. It's got 2 fans here. I believe these are both 80 millimeters. And so it's a little smaller than some of its competitors. I think Sapphire has like 90 millimeter fans, which theoretically are quieter while pushing the same amount of air. But these are a little bit smaller, but there's still 2 of them. And look at this, 5 heat pipes. So these heat pipes are nickel plated. They come from the center, which is right on top of the GPU, and extend to outwards to other areas of the cooler, which is just a simple, or not simple, but aluminum fan heatsink. So basically we got 4. Looks like these 2 heat pipes are smaller, and as the heat pipes that have to go farther into the cooler are thicker, so they basically conduct heat a lot better, and the ones that are closer are thinner. We also have this heat spreader right here. I don't know if you can see it well in the video, but there's this black panel right here on top of the circuit board, which I think spreads heat amongst all the chips, the memory chips and other little chips on the board. So that way basically some of the cooling from the fan can help out with that. Backside, pretty much again, I already showed you the power ports. Also on the side of the shroud we do see proudly proclaimed MSI Twin Frozr. So if you do have a windowed case, you can display this and people will see what kind of video card you have. On the back, it's like what I said earlier, DVI port, HDMI, 2 mini display ports. So this design does allow for more air to come out from the top because there are no ports on the top bracket here. It's just a vent, which also has a MSI etched into it, which is amusing because I think that actually covers up more space here. If they just made this like the rest of the vents, I think more air could actually come out. So this is kind of silly on MSI's part, because if it wasn't enough to see through the window MSI, we have to now look at the back of the computer, right? It's pretty ridiculous. But again, 4 monitors are possible here. Other designs have like regular display port, but it's like stacked on top of another DVI. So it'll be like 2 DVI, 1 display port, 1 HDMI, but this card does it this way. I think most of the 7950s have this configuration in the back. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to show you on this side is the crossfire. So you have these 2 connections right here for crossfire. So obviously if you're connecting 2 cards, you only need 1 bridge, but if you're doing triple crossfire, then you're going to need to use both connectors. So this card only comes with 1 crossfire bridge. But if you buy other MSI cards, you'll get crossfire bridges with those 2, so you're not going to be short on them anyway. And of course on this side, it's just your standard PCIe X16 connector with I think this is definitely a PCIe 3.0 card, so it'll support that extra bandwidth provided by 3.0. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and show you a clip of Crysis 3 here so you have an idea of how this video card performs in one of the most graphically intensive games out there today. Just to clarify, this card is a MSI factory overclocked version of the 7950 Boost Edition. So the Boost Edition from AMD already has higher clock speeds on the 7950 than normal, and then MSI added their own factory overclock on top of that. So the core clock speed here is 960 MHz, memory clock is at 1250 MHz, and the core voltage is at 1188 millivolts. So just to run through the settings here, we are going to do this at 1080p resolution. The options for all the graphics are set at very high, so it's essentially maxed out 16 times in isotropic filtering. And if we look at anti-aliasing, I have it set to SMAA4X, which I believe is the best looking option in Crysis 3, but MSAA is more demanding on the video card, but I don't like it as much because it doesn't do anti-aliasing for foliage. Alright, so let's hop into the game here. Right now we're in the sewer portion of level 2, a very graphically demanding part of the game. So there's a lot of complex lighting here. There's reflections in the water. There's a non-player character who has to be rendered. There's also foliage. So this is very taxing on the video card. And remember, this game is maxed out right now at 1080p, high anti-aliasing settings, and all very high graphics options. So you can see running in the 20s, the frame rate is actually pretty impressive for the video card. I mean, any video card lower than the 7950 would struggle even more. But for the optimum gameplay experience, you'd probably want to lower the anti-aliasing settings a bit, and things will improve greatly. But right now, it's still very impressive, and you can see the 7950 is no slouch. Alright guys, so that does it for the unboxing video of this MSI AMD Radeon 7950 Twin Frozr video card. If you guys like this video, please click that like button and subscribe to the Droopytown network for future unboxing videos. Otherwise, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you later.